even of the fact that most military strategies and intelligence and languages are now outdated. I want to say clearly that the language relied on by the military today are outdated because criminals also learn those languages and they are using them, such as Alpha Bravo, Charlie Delta, Echo Foxtrot, Golf Hotel, India Juliet, Kilo Lima, Mike November, Oscar Papa, Quebec Romeo, Syria Tango, Uniform Victor, Whiskey S3, Yankee Sulu Sulu. All these languages are completely outdated, and this is what our military guys are relying on to solve the problem of insecurity. So as you say, Papa Alpha, call for location, come over with your message. Criminal is also aware of what you are saying, and they know what you are saying. Therefore, there is need for this 10th Senate to create or participate in creating alternative language to be deployed by this military engagement, as well as enhanced funding to advance professional practice and traditional expected of the future military. We don't even know whether hierarchy is of significant importance to the management of security in Nigeria in future. We don't even know whether ranking is important at all, but we will know where we converge to discuss this at the National Security Summit has been proposed. Note, Mr. President, there is no country, and I put emphasis here, no country will allow a citizen to understand security by living with insecurity. That cannot be the only way. That is not the best option. To understand security by living with insecurity, we must eradicate insecurity. Therefore, the ideology of peace for all, as outlined in the executive policy of the Renewed Hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu, should be opened and be promoted. Observe, therefore, that to address the challenges highlighted above, it is imperative that empirical fact-finding mission, National Assembly Security Summit, is organized by these senates to assist in providing requisite platform for enhancing and exhausting this far-reaching deliberation as a way forward. Accordingly, Mr. Senate President, I move this 10th Assembly by saying that we should set up an ad hoc committee very urgently to organize a 3-day national summit in Abuja here, and comprising all levels of government and Nigerians, which includes delegates from the federal government itself, the state government, and the local government, as well as traditional institutions, to propose legitimate solution to insecurity and its challenges in this country. It is when we move and we converge and we discuss these issues and we televise this live and we bring people from various local government and state government as stakeholder of Nigeria and let Nigeria become chief security officer to themselves and distill this important element that we can move forward to solve insecurity and move to security. Like I said before, I have the last point, Mr. Senate President, the nation cannot write, we can't wait to understand security by living with insecurity. Lastly, I want to urge that the federal government, after our conference, should implement whatever we are able to come up from that summit as a policy based on the outcome of the National Security Summit. So we have been discussing the security every day. We have been moving portions here and there. Police killing in Plateau, police killing in Jos, in Benue, in Borno, here and there. If we discuss Borno today, Odo come up tomorrow, Lokoja come up next tomorrow. So, Mr. Senate President, it is very important now that we converge as a Senate. We must learn our voice. We cannot leave executive alone, to look for a solution. We have to converge and discuss this. I so move, Mr. Senate President. Thank you for the time. My distinguished colleagues, thank you very much. Thank you.
As much.
Very distinguished colleagues of the 10th Senate, I bring greetings with heavy hearts to move this all-important motion for urgent needs for National Security Summit by the Senate. As a foundation to the motion, as a matter of fact, while I remain the sponsor of this motion, Mr. Senate President, as announced by the leader of the Senate, 3 of my colleagues are also co-sponsors, and as a matter of fact, many of my colleagues have also expressed desire to have co-sponsored this all-important motion. Mr. Senate President, the issue of security has become a pivotal edifice by which the foundation of our nation is rooted. The motion starts by addressing Your Excellency that the Senate notes with concern the high level of global insecurity which is arising due to the events in Russia and Ukraine and the increasing problem created by the global north and the response from the global south, which include enhancing food insecurity and addressing sustainable development goals, SDGs deficits. And these global challenges also note that the growing impact of tariff war in America and the rising emphasis on the inward balance of power by various countries are reflected in the new international order that is growing now. Mr. Senate President, concerning immigrations and cancellations of even student visas as proposed by the new regimes, now which has necessitated some countries to raise funds even by selling their citizenship, selling their passports, selling their stay, and intensifying economic conflict and undermining globalization, which the global space has invested in for the past 60 years. Very unfortunate. Further note, Mr. Senate President, the significance of power, influence, and authority in geocentric level. As such, Nigeria must clarify its strategic engagements in the international arena and the role of Senate in advising the executive to help government achieve substantial value for Nigeria and upholds her sovereignty. As even the next world war, may not even require fanfare or militarism, but incredible growing economic war is gaining ground and destructive innovation in the global security system. Aware, distinguished Senator, that recent events in our regions have led to the feeling of discomfort and insecurity, which I think this Senate has been taking virtually every day by its motions from different senators, which has placed the past accomplishments and the success of our military forces at risk, even though our military and its partners are striving to address those challenges. They do not have solution to global economic conflicts or the effect of new tariff as with tensions growing in America and China. Military can dispose guns and all that, but they don't have solution to economic crisis and economic wars. As a result, insecurity across Nigeria has become very pervasive and impacting to both urban and rural areas, as we saw in some of those motions that were read today. What is characterized today, increasing banditry, ransom kidnapping, terrorism are present issues across the country as well as other violent crimes. Also be aware, Mr. Senate President, that historical trajectory, which you cannot run from, of our political history, such as the Kano riot of 1953, Eastern Constitutional Crisis of 1953, the Census Crisis of 1962, the Action Group Crisis of 1962, which repeated itself in 1967 and 1970, the federal election of 1964, the Western Nigeria election of 1965, the general election of 1979, executive versus legislative crisis in Kaduna in 1981, and the general election of 1983 cannot be forgotten as our new election approaches. Further aware, Mr. Senate President, that His Excellency, the President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is, of course, very serious about the peace of Nigeria, and he wants peace for everybody. At church, there is need for some fact-finding intelligence support for Mr. President's efforts.